Fridays on Apple TV+. Please welcome Ben Stiller.
Very excited about moving forward and all the energy and excitement that's around this movement right now. So that's why I'm here. It's going to be close, but everybody's motivated to work and make it happen. So she and Tim Walz are just incredible candidates.
Hey Ben, hey, what are your thoughts on the election results?
Guys,
Trump
thank
winning.
you so much.
People are buzzing about how Stiller's remarks toward Donald Trump aren't just casual jabs, they're said to be downright scathing. Some call them shocking. Others call them justified. Still others say they've gone too far. So, where? Did all this boiling tension begin? And is there any chance it'll simmer down before exploding into something bigger? Believe me, it's not every day that you see an actor known for comedic roles appear on national TV with such a pointed sense of outrage.
I honestly don't know. I mean, I think, the narcissism and is incredibly self-absorbed, but he's not really aware of it.
Yet, if you believe half the claims floating around, that's exactly what's been happening. Stiller is said to have lit up talk shows with comments on Trump that went from mildly mocking to outright furious. So why would a guy who once told us to relax in easygoing comedic characters be firing off verbal grenades at a political figure's reputation? Is he just chasing the spotlight? Is there real conviction behind his claims? Or is it part of some hidden feud that's simmered?
But he was just sort of now he has this whole other cultural significance, and I think great that he wanted to do it and have some fun with his image. He was just ahead of the curve somehow.
For years, Ben Stiller has always been known for a bigger-than-life comedic spark that made movies like Zoolander and Tropic Thunder instant classics for many. On screen, he plays the lovable buffoon or the over-the-top caricature, rarely holding back on silliness or slapstick humor. Off-screen, he's often described as a genial presence in interviews, a friendly face who cracks jokes about Hollywood gossip and personal anecdotes without skipping a beat. For years, fans assumed that Stiller's easygoing charm was a constant in his life, on and off camera. But beneath the comedic surface, there have always been whispers of a more intense side lurking beneath Stiller's friendly persona.
Looks back on this time in America, I do believe that it will be Donald Trump and Elon Musk who were reflected as two of the saviors of this country and really of the entire world.
And that's how delusional you have to be to marry Eric Trump.
You know the best way to stop depression? Work your ass off.
We are in a period of transition from the mess that was created under Joe Biden in the previous administration. Joe Biden left this country in an economic disaster.
Wait, there was a disaster and we didn't know about? Did you know about? It's having a heck of a week. Tesla sales are down all over the world. Yesterday, Tesla had its biggest drop in 5 years. Elon Musk lost almost $30 billion.
Some say he's fiercely passionate about certain causes. Others claim that when he believes something is wrong, he tears it apart with all the energy he usually devotes to making audiences laugh. This hidden streak may have finally reared its head when Donald Trump's name came up during various talk shows. Suddenly, that sunny personality gave way, according to rumors, to an aggravated voice speaking out with stinging commentary. To those who know him best, it's not surprising. Allegedly, Stiller isn't one to tiptoe around subjects he's passionate about. This might explain the wave of rumors that once Trump started taking center stage in political news, Stiller felt compelled to speak up, no matter the potential backlash.
Countries and companies that have been ripping us aren't particularly happy with what I'm doing. And our farmers are going to be very happy. And again, there'll be disruption. But in the end, I said it before with China, we signed an unbelievable deal with China, $50 billion in purchases, and we're doing great. Biden, however, when he came in, they never enforced that deal. So that's the only thing that basically you have globalist companies that have been ripping us off that won't be able to rip us.
After all, how could a comedic star known for pushing boundaries in Hollywood remain silent when confronted with a figure he apparently found so controversial and polarizing? Critics are quick to pounce, however. They argue that all these harsh remarks are just part of an orchestrated game, an attempt to keep Stiller's name hot in the media cycle. Others claim it's simply his comedic style evolving into a sharper edge, especially in times of political tension. But one thing is clear, the playful, joking interviews have shifted into a new mode. Some call it raw honesty, others label it as over-the-top hostility, and the rumors are only growing more intense with each passing day. We all know that talks shows love a bit of controversy, and late-night spots are famous for letting celebrities speak freely about almost anything. According to several inside sources, the seeds of this clash between Ben Stiller and Donald Trump began sprouting during a casual conversation on a popular late-night program.
Zambonehead posted about our friends up north. They will pay a financial price for this so big it will be read about in history books. Went down almost 900 points. And of course, the blame for all of that goes to Joe Biden. After endlessly bragging and lying about how well the stock market did during his first term as president, all of a sudden, the stock market doesn't really matter because we're in a period of transition.
Stiller was asked an offhand question about how he felt regarding Trump's approach to certain policies or personal behaviors. Initially, Stiller responded with a typical comedic quip, but then the jokes took on an unusual edge. Witnesses claim there was a noticeable shift in Stiller's demeanor. His face hardened, and his tone got sharper. Rumor has it that producers backstage started to worry that a harmless comedic bit was turning into a full-scale roast. Allegedly, there were remarks that never made it to air, too inflammatory or perhaps too direct. Some staffers are said to have freaked out, cutting the segment short to avoid an on-air meltdown. For the audience at home, everything seemed fine, but those present claim you could cut the tension with a knife. In the aftermath, word spread quickly. People who had never paid much attention to Stiller's personal views suddenly wanted details. Did he really despise Trump, or was he simply playing up the drama for laughs? Some fans assumed it was just another comedic jab. Others said they noticed genuine anger behind Stiller's eyes. Social media went wild, with speculation swirling that Stiller had been trying to break away from his comedic brand to adopt a more outspoken persona. And in the heart of that storm was a brand new rumor. Stiller's so-called real views on Trump might be more incendiary than he was letting on, and this was only the beginning. Then came the next big reveal, an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel's show, where Stiller supposedly unleashed an even bolder set of criticisms aimed squarely at Trump. For those who had been paying attention, it was like watching a match approach a pile of dry tinder. If the rumors are to be believed, Stiller came prepared, with pointed remarks, references to supposed hypocrisies, and enough shock value to prompt real gasps from the audience. Some allege that he used phrases like manipulative and desperate, painting Trump as a figure who was out of control. Talk of these remarks spread fast. Entire blog posts popped up dissecting every statement Stiller made, framing them as either heroic truths or nasty cheap shots, depending on which side was writing. What made this instance particularly dramatic were the swirling claims that certain lines were edited out before the episode was broadcast. Were these lines too harsh for TV, or was it just a rumor fueled by the internet's appetite for bigger, bolder scandals? Nobody seemed to have definitive proof, yet that didn't stop the speculation from growing. People who claimed to be in the audience during the live taping insisted that Stiller went off script, ignoring the show's pre-interview guidelines. One alleged witness said you could see the host's face go rigid when Stiller launched into a monologue about what he found disturbing about Trump's media presence. Some described the vibe on set as electrifying, with nervous laughter from the crowd punctuating Stiller's more biting remarks. The tension was supposedly so intense that even Kimmel, a seasoned figure in late night, looked caught off guard. And of course, the rumor mill spun again. Was Stiller's confrontation with Trump's behavior personal, or was it a tactic to grab headlines? Skeptics insisted it was an orchestrated stunt, a manipulative ploy to ensure the spotlight fell squarely on Stiller at a time when the news cycle was crowded with big names. His defenders argued that he was simply speaking his mind, and that the public deserved to hear raw honesty from celebrities who, up until that point, might have seemed too cozy with the status quo. Whichever angle you took, one fact was certain. Stiller's critique didn't sound like a harmless joke. It sounded like an accusation, and a harsh one at that. No controversy is complete without the roar of social media, and this situation was no different. Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook lit up with posts debating the merits of Stiller's supposed anti-Trump stance. Thousands of users began weighing in, comparing Stiller's comedic roles to the ferocity of his new remarks. It was a jarring contrast. How could the star of whimsical films suddenly be casting such tough judgments? Some fans rallied behind him, praising his courage and saying that more celebrities should speak out so fearlessly. In their eyes, Stiller's boldness signaled a refusal to play nice when serious issues were on the table. On the other side, critics lashed out, calling the actor hypocritical or claiming he was simply virtue signaling for clout. Certain individuals posted old interviews in which Stiller had joked about avoiding big political statements, pointing to this sudden shift as proof that it was nothing but a strategic show. Yet, if you believe certain rumors, the social media outcry only fueled Stiller's willingness to keep talking. Whispered reports claimed that people close to him urged him to dial back the intensity, but that each online controversy seemed to validate his approach. The more people talked about him, the more determined he became to double down. If there was a line in the sand, he was willing to cross it. This is where the question of sincerity came to a boiling point. Were we seeing the real Ben Stiller, a fiercely opinionated individual unafraid to challenge Trump's public persona? Or were we witnessing a performance designed to paint him as Hollywood's next big truth-teller, capitalizing on the controversy? To remain relevant? Depending on who you ask, you'll get starkly different answers. But one outcome was certain: the rumor mill had turned him into a major talking point, whether he intended it or not. As the back and forth raged on public platforms, a new element crept into the story: alleged behind-the-scenes leaks that suggested Stiller's comments were even stronger in private. Supposed insiders came forward, offering tales of fiery rants and scathing critiques delivered when no cameras were rolling. These unverified tidbits, text messages, secondhand accounts, or rumored audio clips, implied that Stiller's anger toward Trump might be more than just a publicity stunt. One particularly persistent rumor claimed that a staffer from a late-night show had hidden audio recordings of Stiller's off-air remarks. These recordings reportedly contained unfiltered criticisms that were laced with sharper language than anything the public had heard. If true, it meant that what the world saw on television was tame compared to how Stiller truly felt. Some said the staffer was hesitating to release the audio because of potential legal hurdles, but the very existence of such content stoked the fires of public fascination. Other claims revolved around private gatherings or dinner events where Stiller was said to have vented at length about Trump. The rumor was that he'd call out not just Trump's policies, but also personal traits he found entitled or manipulative. One unsubstantiated story even alleged that another celebrity tried to calm Stiller down, warning him that stepping too far into political territory could lead to a backlash, especially among fans who preferred him in comedic roles. But according to that rumor, Stiller refused to hold back. What's especially intriguing is how these behind-the-scenes tales contribute to an even more dramatic narrative. Suddenly, the comedic actor who made us laugh is recast in a role akin to a crusader or a firebrand, depending on one's perspective. Either he's a heroic figure pulling back the curtain on what he sees as wrongdoing, or he's an opportunist capitalizing on controversy for personal gain. Regardless of which story you believe, the swirling chatter indicates that there's a lot more to Ben Stiller's stance than just a few late-night zingers. Everything came to a head when multiple outlets began reporting on the alleged tension between Stiller and Trump in a more official capacity. Online magazines ran headlines like, "Ben Stiller rips into Trump on live TV. Was it planned?" or "Insiders reveal Stiller's bitter grudge against Trump." Though the sources ranged from tabloid-level speculation to somewhat credible entertainment news sites, the combined weight of these stories lent the drama a new sheen of reality. This was about more than just a rumor now. It felt like an all-out feud, at least if you followed certain circles of the internet. Commentary videos on YouTube dissected each new quote, while pundits on Twitter joked about a celebrity showdown that seemed to be building in slow motion. If you happen to be a casual fan flipping through channels, you might suddenly stumble upon headlines screaming about Stiller's no-holds-barred remarks, leaving you wondering if he had launched a single-handed crusade. A few supporters of Trump chimed in, claiming that Stiller's words were nothing more than cheap shots from a Hollywood elitist. They painted him as out of touch, dismissing his entire stance as petty name-calling. Meanwhile, those who sided with Stiller argued that he was simply calling out what he viewed as hypocrisy and that his comedic background gave him the perfect platform to highlight Trump's vulnerabilities. Whether you saw Stiller as a hero or a huckster, the conversation was now too loud to ignore. And then came the big question: would Trump or anyone close to him respond directly to Stiller's remarks? Rumors flew about how Trump might retaliate with a biting tweet or a dismissive interview comment. At the time, there seemed to be a tension building toward a real confrontation, but official statements were nowhere to be found. That vacuum of direct responses only fueled speculation further, as people wondered if Stiller's commentary had rattled Trump enough to keep quiet, or if Trump simply couldn't be bothered to dignify Stiller's jabs with an answer. When you peel back the layers of gossip, alleged leaks, and sensational headlines, you find a story about a well-known comedic star who suddenly, if the rumors are true, developed a fierce public stance against one of the most talked-about figures in modern history. Ben Stiller, typically linked to lighthearted comedy, stands accused of delivering some of the toughest remarks toward Donald Trump that we've ever seen from him. And the big question on everyone's mind, is this an authentic shift motivated by genuine conviction or a calculated play in the spotlight? At every turn, more speculation emerges. The idea of a concealed vendetta, the possibility of unreleased audio that could blow the lid off Stiller's public persona, the tension of live talk shows editing out his harsher language. It all creates A sense of dramatic urgency that keeps viewers hooked. And let's be honest, we love a good reveal. We watch, we talk, we analyze, because we want to see how this will end or whether more bombshells will drop. For now, the story remains in the public eye. Stiller's rumored confrontation with Trump stands as one of those tantalizing Hollywood narratives where nobody knows how much is real versus how much is tabloid fiction. But what's crystal clear is that the rumor mill has done its job. No matter where you fall on the spectrum, whether you cheer for Stiller's boldness or roll your eyes at his alleged theatrics, his name is front and center, carrying a charge it hasn't had in years. And that charge might grow if new information ever emerges. So, is Ben Stiller really the combative star who lashed out with biting language against a polarizing political figure? Or is this simply a rumor riding high on the unstoppable wave of online speculation? For the moment, the answers remain as elusive as the rumored clips that keep fueling the gossip. But one thing is for sure, Hollywood rarely sees a feud this compelling, even if parts of it might live primarily in the world of whispers and rumor. Keep watching, because like all good dramas, the final twist might still be ahead. And whether Stiller ends up vindicated or questioned, the spectacle of these accusations has guaranteed that we'll be talking about him and this alleged feud with Trump for a long time to come.